Hi, it's Agnes. I've got a fantastic health recovery story today. It's from Caitlin, one of the viewers on the channel. So it goes like this. It's called Head Coach, the Head Coach, time frame 8 months. This is a story that shows the infinite possibilities of the law of attraction while transforming stubbornness into a virtue. My story has been published as an article in a medical journal and in a chapter of a neurological textbook due to my miraculous recovery from a nearly fatal head injury that was only possible due to the law of attraction. I had taken ice skating lessons as a small child but stopped at the age of 6 due to financial reasons. I had no interest in returning to the sport until I was 14, and I saw the movie Ice Princess, in which a 16-year-old physics nerd develops a scientific program to perfect figure skating jumps and spins and discovers a great talent to the sport. To me, this seemed logical and easy enough, so I decided to go back into the sport. My parents believed that this would help me cope with the recent loss of my younger brother, and we were both emotionally and they were both emotionally and financially supportive. We happened to live near one of the most famous ice skating training facilities in America. The head coach of this rink was extremely famous, and if you have followed Olympic figure skating at all, you have seen him. I had decided that I was going to make it to the Olympic level, and I had decided that he was going to be my coach. I had not been on the ice in over half of my life and had no reason to believe that this man would take me on other than my own strong opinion on the matter. I was already living in the end result of being a competitive athlete. My mother and I went to the rink to inquire about coaches and fees. The woman at the front desk suggested a lower level coaches who would take me on, but cautioned me to not get my hopes up and making much progress as I was starting so late in life. I asked her about the head coach. Oh, he would never take on a beginner. He only trains champions. Well, can I at least meet him? She rolled her eyes at me, replying, "It's your funeral." I promptly barged through the heavy doors and into the arena. Decrepit and more than a little terrifying, the old giant of a coach sat hunched on a stool at the boards of the ice surface. He was chatting with another coach. As I knew I wasn't interrupting a lesson, I approached him without fear or reverence. "Excuse me, I'm Caitlin, and I'd like for you to take me on." "Well, who is your current coach?" "Haven't got one." "You haven't got one?" "No, I haven't skated in years." The other coach burst out laughing, assuming this was a practical joke. I handed the head coach a photo from a competition I had done as a child. He looked at it, looked me over. "Let me see you jump." After putting me through my paces, he turned to the other coach and said, "I bet you in 1 year this girl will win a medal at the local competition." The other coach laughed again and shook his hand, saying that we were both crazy. Not only did I obtain that medal, but I never left a competition without one, which is absolutely unheard of. I simply decided that it wasn't worth my time to go to a competition if I wasn't going to get a medal. Within 2 years, everyone at the rink thought I was going to make it to the Olympics, and I had received several sponsorship offers from luxury brand companies. Shortly before my 16th birthday, I was working on a particularly advanced and difficult jump that was giving me trouble. I shouted over to my coach, "This is the one!" I kicked too far forward and became horizontal in the air. I had an out-of-body experience. I saw myself as a third party. My body looked like it was falling through water. I made eye contact with myself as my head collided with the ice. By the virtue of physics, I landed on the back of my head with the force estimated to be the same as if I had jumped out of an airplane. I opened my eyes and saw the bright, intense silver of the ceiling of the ice rink. That was the last thing that I saw for some time. For several months, I existed in a beige fog that functioned outside of my body. I was a clumsy marionette. I could not see, I could not feed myself, I could hardly walk. The fall had fractured my skull, destroyed nerve endings in my brain that controlled my sense of balance and equilibrium, and almost severed my retina. My memories from this period are sparse, but I distinctly remember the neurologist telling my parents that I would never make a full recovery, that I would always be legally blind and have some mental deficiency. It's nothing short of miraculous that she survived the first 24 hours. I remembered this intense tornado of an emotional swell throughout my body and burst upwards like a volcano. The sentiment was a resounding, "Fuck you." I spent the next 8 months in the hospital where I relearned how to walk, read, and feed myself. For the first 3 months, I was legally blind. My father, bless his heart, was concerned with how bored I must be. I have always been a voracious reader. So he went to the bookstore and bought all the audiobooks that he could find. One of these was The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and it was the first book that he put into my Walkman for me. I listened to The Secret continuously for the next 3 months. I kept trying to visualize in minute detail the things that I most wanted to see, specifically my dad's smiling face and the ice rink. I focused on the sensations of skating, the smell of the ice at 4 a.m., the way the cold air rushes around my arms as I did laps around the ice, the sound of my freshly sharpened skate blades slicing through untouched ice. Most importantly, I focused on landing the stupid jump that put me in this state. At the end of 8 months, I had made an impossible recovery from an injury that is normally fatal. By the end of the year, I was back on the ice and back to the level I had previously been. The stupid jump was now consistent, and I never fell on it again. I also finished high school on time and with several academic awards. After sustaining a second minor injury, I decided to leave skating behind as I was beginning at university in the fall. During my physical therapy, it was suggested that I begin to learn a language in order to stimulate brain function. I had decided to learn French. I currently speak and conduct research in 14 different languages. I graduated from my undergraduate university with 4 majors and 2 minors, completed a master's degree and a certificate in a separate discipline at a very prestigious university, and I'm about to begin my PhD at an Ivy League school. I attracted my acceptance into this program by applying a technique I found in Agnes's videos. I have also attracted a gorgeous luxury apartment in a city with a crippling housing crisis, and I am not financially responsible for my rent or my tuition. What I learned from this experience, as well as writing an 86-page passable master's thesis in 72 hours, is the importance of how you feel about yourself and what you are trying to achieve. As much as gratitude is discussed in the law of attraction principles, I find that it is equally important to be sassy, to be incorrigible, and to never take no for an answer. As my dad says, if you believe you can or you can't, you're right. Awesome. And wow. Caitlin, that's brilliant. Fantastic. Not only did you recover, but then you extended your brain way past what would have been expected by other people, but your expectations of yourself were high. So absolutely fantastic, amazing story. I hope it helps those of you that have been writing to me about some health conditions, that you can use what has been said here to change your own mental state, to create your own fantastic health condition, as in a healthy health condition. So thank you, Caitlin. Lots of love to you. I know you're about to start your next chapter in a fantastic country over in Europe, and you've just arrived there in the last 2 to 3 weeks and you're still getting settled. So lots of love to you. You're an amazing young woman, and I have the absolute pleasure of working with you. Very touched by your story and very touched by you. You're amazing. Lots of love.